Hello everybody, Jacob here, and if you haven't noticed, the world is in a pretty bad shape right now. Yes, a plague seems to be bearing down on everybody, extremists threaten to plunge our country into a period of chaos, and in addition to all of this, humans seem to be headed towards climate collapse like we're on an extinction speedrun. So with all of these apocalyptic crises happening, you may be saying, how does a Zoomer like yourself cope with all of this? We don't. Okay, I'm kidding, of course. Drugs. I'm kidding. I cope personally using video games. More specifically, the video game No Man's Sky. Now you might be saying, Jacob, No Man's Sky, isn't that the game made by known con artist Sean Murray, who lied about what the game had in it and stole everybody's money? Listen, you stupid idiot, you're thinking about No Man's Sky 2016. I'm of course talking about No Man's Sky 2021, and that was the intro. For more, let's go over to the animation bubble. Come on, let's go. No Man's Sky is a survival space game developed by Hello Games, and it's the brainchild of Sean Murray. The No Man's Sky launch was infamous for being disastrous. The game was hyped to oblivion. It was said to have an infinite number of planets. It was an RPG where you could be a trader or a fighter. Sean Murray would personally suck the cock and lick the clit of every customer who bought a copy. Gamers went wild. Then the game came out, and it was an average space survival game. People went ballistic. Sean was getting death threats over butterflies. The game's review score plummeted. But then, like so many things on the internet involving angry mobs, the mob died down and focused on the next outrage. EA was selling $200 Star Wars outfits, or Ubisoft released a video of them kicking a puppy. I don't know, it was 4 years ago. Hello Games stuck with No Man's Sky and released a bunch of updates to improve the game. Now fast forward 5 years, and No Man's Sky is one of the most unique experiences in gaming. I love No Man's Sky. It's honestly one of my favorite games. Unironically, every night before bed, I play it religiously. Here's my routine. I've incorporated it into my routine. Every night, I go and I make myself a cup of chamomile tea. Then I sit down at this desk and I boot up my favorite game, No Man's Sky. And then for a couple of hours, I just sit, I relax, I gather materials, I observe aliens, and I just fly around the universe discovering stuff. So you might say, Jacob, what makes No Man's Sky so special that you incorporate it into your daily routine? Well, to answer that question requires some explaining. Why don't we do that in the animation bubble? Let's go. No Man's Sky takes place in a procedurally generated universe with 18 quintillion planets. Each planet features its own slightly unique alien flora and fauna. In No Man's Sky, you can follow the story to reach the center of the universe, explore, trade, or build a cool base. The game feels like Minecraft in space. I personally love the game. I play it religiously because no other game has captured exploration as well as No Man's Sky. Whenever I land on a new planet, I'm always filled with excitement to see the new and weird, wonderful landscapes and creatures. Despite each planet being procedurally generated, I've still managed to find some beautiful planets. Some planets that are creepy and lonely, but somehow I've managed to find no planets with topless alien cuties. What the fuck, Sean? You said your game was infinite. I'm refunding. This is bullshit. You know that cringy saying that 14-year-olds post on their Instagram? The one that says, born too late to explore the ocean, born too early to explore the stars. Well, I kind of agree with that quote, but I'm born just in time to explore the world of No Man's Sky. The game gives me a sense of discovery that's honestly unmatched. I've yet to find another game that makes me feel like a small speck of dust aimlessly wandering through a giant and uncaring universe. The game feels endless. I'm just a tiny cog in this huge machine. I could build a base, or I could fly off into another star system, and no one other than me knows about this weird jelly blob that inhabits a desert world. I find it so cool to land on a planet and know that I'm the only one who's been to this weird small section of the game's world. It's the closest thing I can imagine to being an 18th century explorer discovering Antarctica. Okay. Enough talk of the infinite vastness of space. I'm starting to have an existential crisis. Oh no. Whoops. Too late. Oh, I'm sorry. You got me thinking about my own insignificance while listening to sea shanties. I love 2021. Don't get me wrong, the game's not perfect. After you've played it for a little bit, you start to notice that some of the creatures start repeating, and the overall gameplay loop does get repetitive. But still, the game gives me a unique sense of being a small traveler through a vast universe that I just can't get anywhere else. So, good job, Hello Games. You've made one of the only games that can make me think about my own insignificance. You might think, okay, I get that the game gives you an existential crisis. Why does that make it the perfect game to play during the apocalypse? Well, I'll explain. Right after I tell you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because much like No Man's Sky, this YouTube channel will also give you an existential crisis, but not to me. You may be a speck of dust floating in a large, uncaring universe, but to me, you're very special. Unless you're not subscribed, then you're not special at all. But you can change that by clicking the subscribe button. Okay, enough shilling. Let's get back to the thing. Go to the animation bubble. We'll explain why. Let's do it. Yay. When you think Zen, what do you think of? A Buddhist monk? A Japanese tea garden? The feeling you get immediately after nutting? Fuck you, you're all wrong. When I think of Zen, I think of No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky gives me the feeling of relaxing, like taking a bubble bath or meditating. When I'm peacefully observing animals, gathering materials, it's all so peaceful and relaxing. Unless, of course, you're on an aggressive Sentinel planet and you have no launch fuel, then it becomes Dark Souls. No Man's Sky can be really beautiful, especially when you're on a lush planet with rings. Oh, mama, look at that. It looks like an LSD trip. I love it. Mwah! The game can even feel more like a trip if you live in these states or Canada. You get the joke. Come on, you get it. The game's 60s sci-fi aesthetic creates a really cool vibe that the universe is just bursting with discovery. No Man's Sky is the game we need right now. Yes, society may be collapsing all around us, but the universe is a big place, and in the end, none of it will matter. We'll all eventually die, and the Earth will keep spinning like you were never here. So why spend the precious time that we do have worrying about collapse? If you're stuck inside, quarantining, doom scrolling, then why not take a break from that and explore a vast universe and clear your mind? That's why I like No Man's Sky and why I believe it's the perfect game to play while society crumbles around you. So before you're taken hostage by a group of cannibal raiders and forced to work in the wasteland on their caravan of pain, you should consider revisiting No Man's Sky in 2021, just to take your mind off of everything, you know? And while you're at it, why don't you let me know in the comments, what's the most zen game that you play? What game just relaxes you? And do you agree with my take on No Man's Sky? Yes or no? Let me know down below. Well, if you like this video, please subscribe. I try to make at least 2 videos a month, but hey, I'm a full-time college student, so that can change and fluctuate, you know, but I try to aim for that. And I'll leave you with this, some nice, relaxing footage of No Man's Sky.
That the atoms that comprise life on Earth, the atoms that make up the human body, are traceable to the crucibles that cooked light elements into heavy elements in their core under extreme temperatures and pressures. These stars, the high-mass ones among them, went unstable in their later years. They collapsed and then exploded, scattering their enriched guts across the galaxy. Guts made of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and all the fundamental ingredients of life itself. These ingredients become part of gas clouds that condense, collapse, form the next generation of solar systems, stars with orbiting planets. And those planets now have the ingredients for life itself. So that when I look up at the night sky, and I know that, yes, we are part of this universe, We are in this universe, but perhaps more important than both of those facts is that the universe is in us. When I reflect on that fact, I look up. Many people feel small because they're small and the universe is big, but I feel big because my atoms came from those stars.